back in June of last year, the national security law was passed by China and imposed on Hong Kong. In essence, it criminalizes a number of things. For example, what they call is secession. In other words, acting like you want to secede Hong Kong from China altogether. That would be a crime, and you would be taken over to China and prosecuted for it. China was defining protesting, for example, as terrorism. And finally, collusion with a foreign power like the United States. That was considered to be a criminal offense that you could be taken over and tried in China. So essentially what this national security law was a crackdown by China on Hong Kong. And that's the existing status today. It's unfortunate that many have been arrested. We think something like 11 to 12,000, mostly young people. There are some highly visible people. Jimmy Lai would be an example. He was a wealthy tycoon, and he was a pro-democracy leader. He's been in jail now for 2 years, and we don't know how long he's going to be. And this is a person who had influence and money. You can imagine the 11 to 12,000 people that are just normal Hong Kong people, mostly young people in their teens or in their early 20s. And some are jailed. Some have been let out on bail, but they have this, this dark cloud hanging over their head. If they speak out or do anything, they can be imprisoned almost immediately and sometimes disappeared into the criminal justice system. We have passed sanctions a number of times against China for this, especially against the leaders who did undermine the freedoms in Hong Kong. And they had special privileges. Sanctions can only go so far. They really have a limited impact, a limited effect. And what you don't want to do is adversely impact the people themselves rather than the thugs or the bullies that are over them. And so it's a fine line, oftentimes, how successful they are. We need to work with our allies, especially in the region. And fortunately, we do have a lot of very good allies in the region who are just as repulsed by what China has done with respect to Hong Kong and many other issues, whether it's the Uyghurs, who it's essentially genocide that's being carried out on about 1 million people who are behind bars. We have the Quad, for example, which is 4 countries. These are some of our principal allies over there. It's the United States, India, Japan, and Australia. We're working together to try to counter a lot of these abuses of China right now and making sure that they don't expand this bullying and this aggression to even more areas besides Hong Kong. Taiwan has not declared independence, but they've basically functioned as an independent country for half a century now. They're hesitant to actually declare independence, for example, because they're concerned, I think rightfully so, that might result in an invasion, which we're very concerned about. And China has gotten more and more aggressive, especially under the current president, President Xi. And it's important that the United States be there with Taiwan, and it's much less likely that China would actually act militarily against Taiwan if they know we'll be there.